Good afternoon to you. 3:06 now, News Talk 105.9 WMAL, where we're making sense of the news. Coming up, top of the hour, we'll be joined by Alana Goodman from the Washington Free Beacon, and she will expose for us the secret effort to try and derail Pete Hegseth's nomination to become the Secretary of Defense. Alana with the details coming up at 4 o'clock. 4:30, we talk about President Trump trying to put a bow on all of this lawfare against him. Margot Cleveland gives us all the legal updates. At 5 o'clock from the Media Research Center, Nick Fondacaro takes us literally inside of the courtroom to take a look at the $1 billion defamation suit against CNN. Now, in day 3, that trial, Nick gives us the update. He's been in the courtroom. He'll tell us what he's seeing. And Riley Moore is here at 5:30, a freshman congressman from West Virginia. We'll find out what it's like to join the Congress. What's orientation like? Is there hazing? It's all ahead on the Vince Coglianese Show. You can join us, 888-630-9625, 888-630-WMAL. Wildfires ravaging Los Angeles. Tens of thousands of people evacuated, at least 2 dead. Right now, over 1,000 structures simply burned to the ground. It's out of control. Here's a local firefighter describing to the media how he believes it all began.
This has jumped from a very small fire in the backyard. It ran up a ridge. Once it hit that ridge, we had these erratic winds, and it just had an ember cast that just pushed this throughout all of Palisades.
All of Palisades as this very elite area, a Hollywood home area. It goes up in flames, and so many lives upended right now. You hear about the 2 that officials have confirmed are dead. You're seeing shocking footage from inside of some of these structures as people capture with their iPhone cameras the flames that are approaching their homes, and really, in many cases, almost no escape. Lots of vehicles abandoned in the street as traffic became jammed up. People realized they had no other way to get out other than on foot. They began abandoning their vehicles, leaving them behind, only for bulldozers to have to come in later and shove all of these in many cases, very, very nice cars to the side of the road, pushing them in order to make clearance for fire trucks to get through, to handle all of this disaster. Among the people who have had their lives overturned, you may know the conservative, the Hollywood star James Woods. He was speaking on CNN about the wreckage of his home.
I'm 77 years old, man. I can't walk up these hills. It's like Mount Everest here. It's like, pretty steep. So, it's just you. I posted this on X, but Sarah was on with her 8-year-old niece last night. And she came out. I'm sorry. Just, one day you're swimming in the pool, and the next day it's all gone. But she came out with her little Yeti piggy bank for us to rebuild our house.
Oh my gosh, James Woods, we all hope that you will be able to rebuild your house, maybe starting with that little Yeti piggy bank. And we're just glad that you're okay and your wife is okay.
I'm sorry,
you have your lives. Yeah, no, this is real and it's raw.
I thought I would be stronger than this.
It's rough. It's very rough what's happening right now. Blazes all over the place at the moment. The report as of this morning was that they were 0% contained. That is an awful, awful number to hear. 0%, meaning completely out of control. Officials, Axios reports, warn that conditions are expected to worsen. Fire officials estimate that the Palisades fire has now grown to nearly 12,000 acres. 12,000 acres between Malibu and Santa Monica. In northeast L.A. County, they have identified what they call the Eaton Fire now. It's burned 10,600 acres by this afternoon, with the winds reaching and surpassing 80 miles per hour, according to the Angeles National Forest. There's also what's known as the Hearst Fire in and around the San Fernando Valley. It's burned at least 700 acres. A separate Woodley Fire in Sepulveda Basin reached 30 acres as of today. They have fires everywhere right now, and firefighters doing the best they can in very stressful circumstances to try and get control of this. Over 1,000 structures are believed to have been destroyed. They say that the cause of the fire remains unknown. You heard me play that clip. That was one firefighter claims that he said it began in a backyard and then moved on from there. But right now, we just don't know for certain how it all began. They say 2 civilian fatalities have now been reported. That was in the Eaton fire. The cause of their deaths at the moment, though, is unknown, the specific cause of their deaths. The California National Guard has been deployed now to help respond to the fires. Gavin Newsom, the awful governor of that state, announcing that today. Also, you heard in our newscast that the Biden administration has declared that emergency. Gavin Newsom is requesting a waiver of the state's responsibility to pay for any of the reaction. This is typical. You see, when you get a big disaster in the United States, the president has the power both to declare an emergency and to also to waive the cost-sharing requirements for the state. In other words, the feds will cover most, if not all, of the actual expenses involved in recovering. So you will be stuck with the bill here for the reaction to this. And it'd be one thing if the local officials had done everything right in terms of preparing the community to prevent this type of catastrophic damage. But of course, the story in California is that they don't actually do everything right. In fact, they routinely do everything wrong, whether it's diverting precious water resources away from the area and into the Pacific Ocean, whether it's failing to fill up the necessary reservoirs from which to draw water in order to put these fires out, whether it's getting rid of the undergrowth that serves as fuel that creates a powder keg for this fire to spread even more rapidly, or whether it's even funding and hiring competent, strong, capable firefighters to tackle these fires when they emerge. All of those things have been catastrophic failures by California leaders. And I don't know if there's been a more recent story that's better encapsulated why the left should not be in charge of major infrastructure. California is a really troubling and epic disaster. Look in particular at the LA mayor, Karen Bass. Karen Bass is not in the area. Now, I'm not saying that the LA mayor can predict at a moment's notice that a fire is about to break out. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that she's the mayor of Los Angeles. She has no business being at the inauguration of the president of Ghana. That's where she has been, in Ghana, at the inauguration. Now, do you think she's going to go to President Trump's inauguration on January 20th? Do you think that the mayor of L.A. had any plans to attend the inauguration of the president of the United States? Seems pretty unlikely to me. She's a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, all in on the party's priorities, and that includes going to the inauguration of the president of Ghana? What in the world are Californians and people in Los Angeles wasting their money on? Karen Bass. Meanwhile, there's no water. There's no water. Over on one of the local newscasts, Fox 11, Rick Caruso is a real estate developer there. One of the pieces of property he has is a mall in the area. He was able to protect his own mall. He ran for L.A. mayor. And L.A. instead chose Karen Bass over him. And boy, that's looking like a really stupid decision in hindsight. Here he is talking about all of the warning signs that were in place ahead of this fire breaking out and just absolutely gutting the community.
But their hands have been tied, and they can't fight a fire without water and the resources that are needed. Everybody knew these winds were coming. The other question has to be, were all the things in place to try to, again, mitigate the damage here? But the real issue to me is twofold. We've had decades to go remove the brush in these hills that spread so quickly. And the second is, you got to have water. And my understanding is the reservoir was not refilled in time and in a timely manner to keep the hydrants going. So that's a failure, whether on DWP's part or another city agency. But this is basic stuff. This isn't high science here. And it's all about leadership and management that we're seeing a failure of. And all of these residents are paying the ultimate price for that.
That was going to be my next question, is why isn't there water in the fire hydrants? That doesn't make any sense.
You're right. It's a good question. And I think he should start asking, why don't you call the mayor who's out of the country and ask her and get an answer from her?
Get an answer from her. She's out of the country. Why are the fire hydrants, that is, the things you're supposed to open up to fight fires, why are they empty? Why is the ammunition to put out the fire gone? How about that? And it always drives me so crazy. California, President Trump has brought this up a lot. He says that they're diverting a ton of water into the Pacific Ocean, and that's a huge problem. The other piece is the Pacific Ocean exists. It's a state that borders one of the biggest bodies of water on the planet. There are areas of California that do have desalination plants where you can desalinate water. But I don't know, I'm not a firefighting expert, but if all hell breaks loose, you might even be able to leave the salt in the water as you use it to douse a fire. What is happening in California? Here, listen to President Trump talk about this. He was on with Joe Rogan, remember, during the campaign.
They said, we have no water. I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why don't you have no water? Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north of water, more water than they could ever use. And in order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. Millions and millions of gallons of water gets poured. I could have water for all of that land, water for your forests. Your forests are dry as a bone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dangerous.
That water could be routed. You could have everything. Oh, not only dangerous, billions of dollars a year they spend on forest fires. And, there's a case with the environment. They're not allowed to rake their forests because you're not allowed to touch it.
Clean up the underbrush.
And all they have to do is clean their forest, meaning rake it up, get rid of the leaves, get rid of, leaves that are sitting there for 5 years. And
we'll certainly get rid of the dead fall.
And get rid of the trees that are fallen and that, are like.
By the way, this is another reminder. If you see anybody on social media today blaming climate change for this, they are either mentally ill or outright evil. That's climate change. You don't need to obsess over climate change. What we need to obsess over is regime change. That's what we should be focused on in California, getting rid of the people who keep selling out the people of that state. And I hate to knock on their foreheads a bit, but the voters who keep putting these people in place, especially some of the people who are having their lives upended right now. Hello, McFly. Maybe the message will get through now. We have this absolute catastrophe going on. President Trump also said over the summer, look, there's a lot of water. It's just being sent to the wrong places.
And you have so much water, and all those fields that are right now barren, the farmers would have all the water they needed. And you could revert water up into the hills where you have all the dead forests, where the forests are so brittle. Because no place is like California. I go to Austria. The head of Austria tells me, we have trees that are much more flammable than what you have in California. We never have forest fires because they maintain their forests. And you have all that water that could be used as water, what they call water flow, where where the land would be damp. And you'd stop many of these horrible fires that are costing billions and billions of dollars by the federal government, et cetera. So one thing I'm going to do for California, vote for me, California. I'm going to give you safety. I'm going to give you a great border. And I'm going to give you more water than almost anybody has. And the farmers up north are going to be able to use 100% of their land, not 1% of their land.
All right. So President Trump focused on, protecting Americans, including in blue California, and getting them the water they need to prevent these conditions, and certainly to provide options to keep the fire hydrants flowing. Meanwhile, the firefighters themselves are in an awful situation for a bunch of reasons. The mayor of Los Angeles massively cutting their budget this past fiscal year, just in time. This in an environment where insurance companies have stopped insuring the multi-million-dollar homes that are being affected here because they said that the fire risks were just too great, that there was no way that the insurance companies were going to be able to make money in this area, given the poor management. And then you've got a fire chief who is so completely and theatrically incompetent in Los Angeles, who is not focused on firefighting. Instead, she is focused on struggle sessions. She is a ridiculous figure. And it's the same story. We keep seeing this. I'll get into details more about her in a moment, but it's the same story. We just saw it in New Orleans a week ago, where you get these incompetent emergency officials who shouldn't be in charge of a broom closet. And yet here they are in charge of entire police departments or entire fire departments. They're morons who are focused entirely on left-wing politics and not on emergency management. It is so way past time to wake up, it's unbelievable. And now you have people's lives truly being destroyed here by this left-wing garbage. More in a moment. We've got to get into a lot of details to break into here, but it is so important that we dwell on this disaster. It's taking place in California. I'd like for it not to happen everywhere, although the left has different plans. One of the top officials in the former Trump White House and the incoming Trump White House is Stephen Miller. He posts here in the last hour on X, when you orient every level of society around social agendas, political agendas, ideological agendas, racial agendas, gender agendas, everything but merit, competence, performance, and the national interest, it will always end in catastrophe. Always. I see today apparently that the LA fire chief was concerned that they just didn't have enough firefighters to respond to all of this. Wait until I give you the details on this lady. There's no wonder they're having a shortage. There's no wonder they're having a shortage of firefighters. Not least of all because the mayor of the city, Karen Bass, both proposed and successfully was able to achieve a budget that cut $20 million out of the fire department this past year. And I'm certain it was so that she could fund a bunch of other garbage left-wing causes. It wasn't for budgetary restraint. That's not the Democrat way. Certainly not in Los Angeles. But it's kind of place where they cut funding for the cops in the middle of the George Floyd riots, and then they cut funding for the firefighters ahead in the midst of already devastating fires, and now the latest, which is absolutely crushing these communities, including communities where you have very wealthy, very powerful people who are now reaping the destruction, in many cases, of the votes that they've taken. The very leaders that they put in place have failed to protect these communities. God willing, it's a wake-up call for everybody involved. Coming up, I'll tell you more about the leaders there in Los Angeles, including a fire chief who has no business being involved in fighting fires at all. Hey, good afternoon to you. It's 3:35 here on News Talk 105.9 WMAL, where we're making sense of the news. Joining us top of the hour from the Washington Free Beacon, Alana Goodman, on the secret effort to stop Pete Hegseth from becoming Secretary of Defense. We'll expose all of that coming up. At 4:30, Margot Cleveland is here from the Federalist. We talked to her about all of these legal fights that President Trump is still locked in, with just days to go until he becomes president of the United States again. And then Nick Fondacaro joins us at 5 o'clock from the Media Research Center. He's been inside the courtroom as CNN stares down a $1 billion defamation trial. And Riley Moore, 5:30, freshman congressman from West Virginia today. You can join us at 888-630-9625, 888-630-WMAL. Los Angeles is run by a bunch of idiots, to include Karen Bass, who fled the country to go to some stupid presidential inauguration in a different country, not in America. And I don't think she has any intention of going to Trump's inauguration. Perhaps she'll surprise me. But she went to the inauguration in Ghana of the president there, and while she was gone, a raging fire has destroyed so much of her community and already killed at least 2 people. And firefighters are completely overwhelmed. All the reports we have as of this hour are that they are 0% contained, these fires, which means 100% out of control. There are a couple of fire officials in Los Angeles. We were hearing today from the LA County Fire Department Chief Anthony Marone, who said that they are doing their very best, but they're overwhelmed by the widespread disaster. Let's take a listen to him first.
Young woman with the hand up. Hi, Grace Tui with the Los Angeles Times. I was hoping one of the fire chiefs could talk a little bit about long-range spotting and how far we actually saw embers jumping from one fire to other spot fires. And then additionally, we heard repeatedly fire crews requesting help, backup, and not having enough crews. Were you guys prepared enough for this? Did we have enough resources to fight these fires? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So I'll start at the end and work back. No, LA County and all 29 fire departments in our county are not prepared for this type of widespread disaster. There are not enough firefighters in LA County to address 4 separate fires of this magnitude. We were prepared. We did get state pre-position resources that came from Northern California that were up in the Santa Clarita Valley. We did hire additional firefighters from the LA County Fire Department and pre-positioned them in the Santa Monica Mountains. The LA County Fire Department was prepared for 1 or 2 major brush fires, but not 4, especially given these sustained winds and low humidities. Like our Director of Emergency Management said, this is not a normal red flag alert. People were calling for help. We tried to get them the help that they needed. LA County right now, like the LA City Fire Department, is prioritizing life safety, but we're also engaging in structure defense, perimeter control, and aerial operations. Remember that the LA County Fire Department has 13 aerial assets available to it. In addition to our agency-owned helicopters, we have our 2 CL-415 Super Scoopers and our CH-47, which is part of the 3-county QRF. So we're prepared to keep fighting the fight. Like I said earlier, I've requested additional resources, not only from Northern California, but from out of state. We did that last night, yesterday. So we're doing the very best we can. But no, we don't have enough fire personnel in LA County between all of the departments to handle.
All right, so he's referring in particular to his own role as the Los Angeles County Fire Department chief. But there's also the city, and that is where we find a woman by the name of Kristen Crowley, who is the fire chief of Los Angeles. She has been the fire chief since March of 2022. And let me just read to you from the LA Fire Department website, where the fire chief page. They say Kristen M. Crowley is the 19th fire chief of the Los Angeles Fire Department. With her wife and children by her side, Chief Crowley took the oath of office on March 25th, 2022, becoming the first female and LGBTQ fire chief in the LAFD. So that's the first priority, to let you know that she's gay, that she has a wife, and that they have children, and that she's the first female and LGBTQ fire chief in the Los Angeles Fire Department. That's the most important thing, which is why it's in the very first sentence of her bio. The second sentence, Chief Crowley leads a diverse department, about 3,400 sworn and more than 350 civilians, and protecting 4 million people in Los Angeles. It's a diverse department, she says. And they say in her bio. And it's all about diversity. It's not about firefighting. It's not about who can carry hoses, who can carry bodies, who can lift equipment, who can stop fires, who can prevent fires, who can respond to them. No, it's about she's gay, she's got a wife and kids, and she's the first female to be in this role, and she leads a diverse department. Talking about having your eyes off the ball. And they were very excited about all of this. Here's NBC4, a local news affiliate, talking about Kristen Crowley and the work that she's undertaking as the fire chief in Los Angeles. What's she up to?
I'm super inspired.
She took time out of her already busy schedule to tell us about her vision for the department's future, one that includes a 3-year strategic plan to increase diversity.
People ask me, well, what number are you looking for? I say, I'm not looking for a number. It's never enough.
Out of 3,300 city firefighters, only 115 are women right now. She's already looking at ways to change that. She's quick to point out that doing so...
What were the numbers there? Did he say 300 something? Let me just make sure I have this correct. I'll take take a listen.
Firefighters, only 100.
One more. Back it up a little.
Number, it's never enough.
Out of 3,300 city firefighters, only 115 are women right now.
Okay, so out of 3,300, she says, only 115 are women, and that's a big problem. Why is that a problem? Why specifically is that a problem? What in the world would make that a problem? The point is, what's the point of a firefighter? I believe it's right there in the title. It's to fight fires. It's to fight fires. Shouldn't the priority be we need to hire more people who can fight fires, men or women? If you can pass the physical requirements needed to take care of a fire, if you can stay calm under the immense pressure of fighting a fire, if you meet all of the obviously important standards that come with firefighting, well, then sure, be a firefighter. But no, the focus is, you know what? We need a lot more women. We need to throw more women at fires. This, honestly, it kind of sounds like a misogynist's plan. Don't like women? Want to get rid of them? Throw them at fires. What? What is this plan? We need more women. No, you don't, stupid. You need more people who can fight fires.
Fighters, only 115 are women right now. She's already looking at ways to change that. She's quick to point out that doing so has a greater purpose, attracting the best and brightest for the job.
They feel included, they feel valued, and they feel part of a cohesive team.
The chief also checks another box when it comes to inclusivity and diversity at this department. She's a proud member of the LGBTQ community.
They literally, and by the way, this is a glowing piece of local news coverage by the NBC affiliate. They literally describe her as, quote, checking another box. She checks a box. They brag. She's a proud member, not a disgruntled member, a proud member of the LGBTQ community. Which, by the way, there is no such thing as an LGBTQ community. There's no fence around such a community. There's no specific location where the LGBTQ community lives. It's an invention. It's literally an invention. It's a political cudgel. Sexual attraction is not the same as lopping your junk off. It turns out it's a different thing. These are different categories. LGBTQ community, they screech, as if it's one unified thing, which of course it isn't. And the guy's like, she's a proud member. She checks a box. And again, this has nothing to do with fighting fires.
They feel included, they feel valued, and they feel part of a cohesive team.
The chief also checks another box when it comes to inclusivity and diversity at this department. She's a proud member of the LGBTQ community.
That just kind of opens the door of people that thought, wow, I didn't even know that was an opportunity for me.
Oh, it's so completely idiotic. Completely idiotic. The L.A. fire chief, a complete disaster. And that's, I think, just more proof of that. L.A. County recently also subjected all of their firefighters to struggle sessions. If you've in any way had to be, you're in a stupid corporate environment or like a stupid government job or anywhere where left-wingers wield too much power over your life, you'll be familiar with this particular phenomenon. But in California, it's really bad. It's really bad. And they subjected the firefighters in L.A. County to a struggle session on diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is not a training session on how to more efficiently fight fires, how to enter the building, how to keep yourself safe, how to stay alive in the midst of all of this, how to rescue people who are in the middle of this awful fire. No. Instead, this is a struggle session that the left puts on at taxpayer expense.
We are hosting our new employee orientation, and our focus is to teach our new employees for them to understand cultural competency, identify implicit and unconscious bias, and be aware of the importance of us having a diverse and inclusive workforce.
Diversity is important because the different people bring different lenses.
That's right. And fire is intimidated by diversity. When fire sees diversity, it cowers. It just disappears.
To their job. And those different ideas, those different lenses are important to have the best practices for our industry.
Oh my
We have
gosh.
people here from hazmat. We have dispatchers in the room. We have people that are responsible for financial management. We have our information management division, and also from human resources. So we have a variety of professionals that are.
Now, this is, to be clear, this is the county of Los Angeles, who you heard from that fire chief a moment ago. I played some audio from him. He just said, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we hear him just say, we don't have enough firefighters? And this is the crap they're subjecting the current firefighters to?
Receiving this training.
We teach people how to deal with conflict responsively, how to have challenging conversations, break down stereotypes.
You have to talk to fires? Is that a thing? Is that how to have challenging conversations to break down these conflicts? You just point the hose right at the base.
And learn more about cultural competence. And so we do this by working to advance equity throughout community partners and internal departments.
What are they paying
within
this
Los
woman?
Angeles County.
I welcome all of you in this room to join, whether you're LGBTQ plus or not, or you're just an ally, you have family members, anybody that's willing to engage and learn and grow from the opportunity.
Fire her. I don't know who that is. Fire her. I have a list. I'm generating a list for you. This is free consulting.
Opportunities that this experience has presented me with.
The Los Angeles County Fire Department would be recognized nationally and possibly even globally.
Oh, yeah, you're being recognized right now. I'm recognizing you from 3,000 miles away, and it's not for a good reason.
As an agency that was very serious about diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And not fighting fires.
And made some substantive changes so that everybody could feel safe and feel included.
Oh
On behalf of LA County.
What happened to that guy's brain? What happened to all of these people? Like, who got inside your head and scrambled it? Who did that to you? You're practically an abuse victim. Either you're knowingly leading people down this idiotic path, or you've just been straight up abused to the point, Stockholm Syndrome, you're just repeating it. You're just acting like it's totally normal.
County Fire Department, we are so proud of our mission, which is to be proud protectors.
Wait. I can't wait to hear it. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have interrupted it. You're so proud of your mission. What is your mission? Tell us.
On behalf of LA County Fire Department, we are so proud of our mission, which is to be proud protectors of life, the environment, and property. If you want more information about our department, please visit us at fire.lacounty.gov.
Yeah. Wow. That was an emotional video. Yeah. All right. So that's what the county of Los Angeles is up to, and they have a firefighter shortage, and they're scratching their heads right now. They're like, we just don't have that many firefighters, and so L.A. has been cutting the budget for the fire department. They've been cutting salaries. They cut expenses on the actual equipment that firefighters use to tackle these challenges, and then they treat the firefighters they have like utter crap. They subject them to patronizing struggle sessions designed to emphasize racial and gender differences rather than to focus the whole department on fighting fires and saving lives, and actually protecting the community. Total madness. Are you any firefighters out there? Is this normal? Is this all over the place? Are you spending all of your time in DEI training? Might be a problem. Would love to know. 888-630-9625, 888-630-WMAL. It's 351.
Tomorrow on the Chris Plant Show, Greenland is our land, Canada our 51st state, and the Gulf of Mexico is the Gulf of America. 9 a.m. on WMAL.
Oh, man, all the details keep pouring in. This L.A. fire chief, Kristen Crowley, the proud member of the LGBTQ community who believes in DEI at all costs. Her salary in 2023 was $439,772, nearly $500,000 to destroy a fire department. Also, back in 2021, Jorge Ventura, my buddy, the journalist, he documented that the L.A. Fire Department fired hundreds of firefighters for refusing to get the COVID jab. Oh, that set them back, didn't it? And then Mike emails me to tell me, and I didn't realize it. I just looked it up. In 2022, Los Angeles sent a bunch of their firefighting equipment to Ukraine to help Ukraine. Like, literally every current thing that the left is obsessed with, the fire department destroys itself in order to, to bow to that, to whatever that might be. That's crazy. Bob is calling in from Winchester now, line 3. Hello, Bob. You're on the Vince Coglianese Show.
Hey, Vince. I have a question. Why are there no women playing in the NFL? Because it's a really high-paying job. I would think that women would want that job, and yet there does. Because I feel like if we could solve that riddle, then we would also have the answer to why there should be no women in any fire department anywhere in the United States.
Yeah, if we can untangle that brain buster, it might better inform us.
They could be kind of the same answer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe we could get to the bottom of that.
It's crazy. That thing you said about them sending, firing firemen, and not getting the shot, and sending equipment to Ukraine. It's like I almost feel like you have to be making that up. Like that would be a joke that a conservative talk radio would tell as a way to just bust chops. Like that can't be real.
Well, this is why parody is virtually dead, actually. It's like it's not even achievable. When Rush Limbaugh had his program, remember all the great parodies they would run? The left is so cartoonish now that we don't even have time to fire up the creative engines to get there. They've already done it. They were the LA Fire Department was sending their equipment to Ukraine. They fired firefighters for not getting the jab. And then they train them on how to be racist rather than how to fight fires. You can't write this crap. It actually happened. Coming up, Alana Goodman from the Free Beacons to tell us about the secret effort to destroy Pete Hegseth. Not so secret anymore.